Good morning, everybody. This is Steve, your everyday guy, and on today's video, I'm going to show you how to install the Xitomer. I believe is how you pronounce it. Not 100% correct, sure on that, but the Xitomer pannier supports. And so I've got them installed here, but we're going to do a little video here that shows you all the steps I took to get to there, including a thing I did differently than what a lot of other people out there online. Before we get into that, please take the time to hit the like button on this video, and if you haven't subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe. It really helps me grow the channel, and if you have, and I really do appreciate that. I'm trying to get out there and get videos that all of you want to watch, and so please don't forget also to leave a comment down in the comments. And if you really like this, share this video with somebody else. Maybe they're considering getting one of these products, or they've got a KLR and they're trying to figure out the mods they want to do to it. I've got a whole series of them. They're about to come out. So let's get in the video. So here we are getting ready to install the pannier racks. One of the things I read about on a lot of the forums is that the bolt that goes through here impacts the rear brake reservoir. And sure enough, before I even tried to install it, I tested that out to see, yes, that is an issue. A lot of people said, hey, just file it down. Maybe that's better than the route I decided to go, but what I decided to do is reservoir mounts on this side. I simply moved it to that side, giving it probably about that much more space. One thing I ensured though is that as I travel, this will be going up and down, so I made sure there's plenty of room for clearance back here. I also noticed there's a support down here which completely covers it. The only thing I'm worried about that could possibly happen while I'm out is that maybe if I'm in some rough areas, some tall rocks, or maybe some brush or something might catch onto it. So that's something I do have a concern I have. I wouldn't say this is the best way to do it. I wouldn't say it's the worst way to do it. It's simply a way to do it. So do not take this as gospel, but this is how you should install yours. In this video, this is not telling you how to do it. This is simply showing you the way that I did it. You have to make the judgment call to decide if that's the way you want to do it. And if you do it that way, you have to live with the repercussions, just like I have to live with the repercussions of the way I installed it. So this is simply just an example of how I did things. So the first bolts that I put in place was the bottom one. And so we're going to put one washer on the outside. Now this is the important part to remember. You'd want this kind of seems like maybe you should install it this way. That's not the way it goes. It doesn't fit that way. You have to mount these underneath, and if you look in the instructions, it does tell you that is how you mount those. So we're just going to get this one started. Not get it super tightened down or anything. Once I get everything mounted up, we're going to Loctite everything except the lock nuts. There's people out there that say put Loctite on your lock nuts, people that say don't. Once again, that's something you got to choose for yourself. Me, the lock nut itself keeps it tight. I hope I don't regret not putting it on. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove these. I already do have them loosened. Now these are the bolts that I pulled out. These are the bolts that you're supposed to put into this place, and notice they are longer. One thing I don't like is that these are only zinc bolts. They're not stainless steel. These ones are stainless steel. I don't understand why they didn't send these unless they're worried about seizing. So what I'm going to do is, I noticed in the pictures they use these. So I thought, well, can I use these? So what I did is I inspected how far these protruded through the fastener, which I'm going to show you in the picture here. And I noticed, I think they are just barely long enough to work. So I went ahead and used these. And here's a picture of what they look like after. So what you're looking at is the bare minimum. I do not recommend doing it this way. I'm a little vain. I want them to match, so I decided to do it. But if you're going to go in really rough terrain, I do not recommend this because you'll notice there's not a whole lot of grip there. Like I said, I think it's the bare minimum, so if it starts to shake loose, it'll fall out quickly. So we're going to take this, get that started. thing you'll notice is I didn't put any Loctite in, and it's not that I'm skipping Loctite, I'm going to save that for the last step after I get everything tightened. The reason I'm doing this is because Loctite starts to set in about 10 minutes. Since I'm shooting a video, it takes me a little longer to do things. So I want to get it all zipped up, and then I'll go back and reapply the Loctite. That way I can get it all done within 10 minutes. Because if it's not completely tight after 10 minutes, I go to tighten it in. That defeats the purpose of my Loctite. Now get that bottom bolt. And just in case you're wondering, there's a washer on this side and on the far side. So you got kind of a little sandwich where the black metal is the meat in between, and the washers are 2 slices of bread. Now the next thing we're going to do is, I've already got the other side done, so what we're going to do is we're going to put the crossbar on now. Alright, so we've got both the panniers on each side, you'll see there and there. And so the next thing we're going to do is install this cross piece. I do have one bolt already installed right there to kind of hold this in place. And so we're going to install the next one. And so on these are not, these are, looks like maybe aluminum or stainless steel. The reason I say aluminum is that the nuts didn't stick to my magnetic pan, which kind of makes me wonder if they are aluminum. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the bottom one in first. And we're just going to get that started. By the way, if you don't have one of these mechanics tools, you need to get one. As you can see, it's very useful when we put this together. Alright, we got my hand tightened, so what we're going to do is we're going to use our equipment to get it on snug. This is a T5, this is your 10 millimeter. Never lose it, because that's all you need. Well, I wouldn't say it's all you need, but it feels like that's what most of the bolts are on a KLR. Got that on tightened. So go ahead and put this here in. Alright, so now that one. Now we have all those snugged up. One thing I don't like is I don't really like how this lines up here. I think I'll go ahead and leave it, but it's not ideal. Alright, so we've got those snug. They're not completely tight. What we're going to do now is we're going to apply our Loctite. Alright, so we've got everything in there and snug, so what we're ready to do now is ready to take those out and put the Loctite on. So first thing I'm going to do, in terms of the Loctite you want to use, there's 2 types of Loctite, red and blue. Red is permanent, requires heat to remove. Blue requires pressure. There's an argument to be made for red or blue on this one. I personally I'm going to use blue just because if I decide I want to use a different one or dip my other bolts later on, I can do that. Alright, so we've got that out. take our Loctite. Call it a KLR because it's keep Loctite ready. Because these things put out a lot of vibrations. Alright, so we got that ready to go in. So now we're going to tighten it. Alright, I think we're good there. There we go. Alright, that one's good there. I don't know what the torque specs for this is, but I kind of wish I did. So now we got those two. Let's go ahead and make sure that this nut down here is good and secure. This is a 17 millimeter and a T6. I think we got it. So here we are, and you can see I've got the racks installed right there on the side. Kind of give you a look at it. I know it's a little dirty, but hey, it's KLR 650. What do you expect? I gotta say, overall, I'm really happy with the way it looks. Kind of get you a closer look there. Overall, pretty happy, clean.